microtransactions is too many microtransactions. Too many. When you've worked for companies that refer to their player base as tiers and not as people, you will understand. Most companies, especially if it's a live subscription, if it's a live game,
gave 100 bits.
you guys are actually funneled into tiers. I don't know if you know this.
The Garfield movie, AMA.
Mm-hmm. And it's like, Nick All-Stars is what happens when you listen too hard to Smash fans. Casual didn't grab it hard enough. That's what I said. Like, you have to take them into consideration. But there's always gonna be, you know, basement Ned sitting here scratching his nuts with Doritos and being like, this character is not tier and you should remove it. Like, you don't want to listen to him. Like, he's got nothing good to say. But there are a lot of things with, in terms of, like, controls and such like that, that are good feedback for your developers to listen to. You heard me. I'm not apologizing. Ned sucks. So, but the thing that I was talking about tiers, if you guys play any live service games, congratulations, you are built into a tier system. You are not players, you are in a tier system. You are tiers. So, let me explain how this works, because I think it's interesting. When you play a live service game or a game with microtransactions, you are shuffled into a 3-tier system. The company that makes the game consistently wants you to stay in tier 2. They do not want you to get to endgame. This is fact across the board for any game that you play. If you're in tier 3, the company will do every single thing that they can do to push you back into tier 2. So here's a general description of the tiers when internally they talk about players. When you download a game for the first time, and actually, let's because I see it being talked about, let's talk about a free-to-play game. Let's talk about free-to-play games for a second, because those bring a lot of attention from people because they're free. So, you download a free-to-play game, and when you make an account, the first thing that you're gonna get bonuses. You're gonna get a backpack full of rewards. You're gonna get potions. You're gonna get 30 days being able to use a high-speed epic mount. You're gonna get an experience booster. You're gonna get spin the wheel. You're gonna get the free stuff. And you know why they do that? It's not because they're being nice to you. It's not because they're like, play our game, we love you. There's a psychological reason that they do this.
Love you.
The hooks. That's it. The hooks set in for the addiction. So what happens is if you are a free player and you do this and you're given all of this free stuff, you know what happens? You get used to having that stuff. So for the first month of you playing the game, you're like, this is amazing. This game is fun. You've got your additional mounts, your epic speed, your all this stuff. And when 30 days happens, you hit your line and everything disappears, you lose everything. You lose your mount. Now you have to walk on foot. Your experience cuts in half because you're out of potions now. You have used up all of your items. You don't have those available to you in the Battle Royale anymore. That gun is gone that you liked so much. They do this on purpose because that's your tier 1. When you are a new player, you're new to the game, you're in tier 1. You are a potential spender. You're a fresh face. You're a small fish in the pond that we haven't put the hook in yet. So here's our opportunity to do that. We don't want you in tier 1 because we have to give you free stuff. We don't like that. So if we give you free stuff, you get addicted to it, you get used to playing that way, you're going to get frustrated purposely when you don't have it and when we take it away from you. So you're going to go, oh, well, it's only $20 for the mount. It's only like $6 for that extra XP potion. And it lasts a month. You see what I'm saying? They gave you a hit of something good, and now you're like, shit, I don't have it anymore. Where do I get it? Oh, man. I can't play the game unless I have epic mount speed. I can't play it. What about my wheel spins? So now you're spending money because you're like, the game, I like the game, I'm going to play the game, I'm going to spend money on the game. You're in tier 2 now. If you're a Final Fantasy XIV player, most of us are in tier 2 unless you're a hardcore Savage Raider and have cleared everything. Generally speaking, this is your average player. This is your player that is engaged in the game, that logs in regularly, that plays regularly, spends money occasionally because they want to get to tier 3. That's their goal. I want to be a Savage Raider, so I'm going to spend all of my time playing the game. I'm going to buy things that are going to help me achieve that goal. I'm going to buy this item from the shop. I want to do this. I want to spend, like, month after month after month, you're spending subscriptions and you're spending money. You're an active member. So let's say you get good enough and you've been in tier 2 for a couple of years. And now all of a sudden you're like, okay, it's time for me to go raiding. I'm going to go do hardcore mythics. I'm going to go do savage raiding in Final Fantasy. Now you're entering tier 3. We don't want you there because you're not profitable when you're in tier 3. If you're in tier 3, you've cleared all the raids. You have gotten the best stuff in the game. You have purchased the items already that you wanted from the shop. There's nothing left for you to buy, so you're not profitable to us. That's a problem. So you know what we do? We add new microtransactions. We add new garbage to the shop. We add new skins and new designs and maps and stuff for you to spend your money on, because that means you're going back into tier 2 again. We're releasing a new DLC. Boom, tier 2, because you don't have it yet. World of Warcraft doing a new expansion after 2 years. Boom, everybody moves down to tier 2. And you have to work your way up to tier 3. The idea is to keep you in the center because there's always something to spend money on. When you're in tier 3 and you've already spent the money, you're not worth it to us because you're not profitable. So that is the tier system. That's how it works internally. With any company, players are not people. Players are on a tier level. This person is a tier 1. This person's a tier 2. This person's a tier 3. And how you're categorized. You're kind of put into corrals like cattle to figure out which one of you are gonna be the most profitable. And if you're not profitable, how do we incentivize you to be profitable? People are wallets. Yes, it's exactly it. It's an evil but effective system. And we are trained on this system. We are trained on that system. Yep. It's insane. I stopped playing Overwatch. I don't do any of that stuff anymore. However, there are exceptions to this. There are way exceptions to this. I see that question about New Horizons. I'm going to come back to that in a second. I have no issues with battle passes. I think battle passes, and maybe you guys have a say on this too. I don't have any issue whatsoever with battle passes. Battle passes and direct transactions, no issue. Zero issue with those. Zero. Gacha games are a problem. Battle passes are not. because they're completely different things. If I give you $20, I'm gambling with that money and hoping to God that you give me something for it. I may give you $20 and never receive anything. I gotta get that character for Genshin Impact. You're gambling. You are not guaranteed to receive anything whatsoever. However, if you buy a battle pass or you buy something direct, like I want a skin in Paladins, if I put $7, if I give them $7, I directly get the skin I paid for. That is a money for item direct transaction. That's not messing around, that's not playing around. You know? Graf, welcome in! Welcome in! My leg's doing some things. Hi. What? What's my leg doing? Jeez, hi. Hi, Raiders! What's going on? Welcome in! We are talking about the in-depth, dark behind the curtain of working for AAA video games. We are talking about some stuff that I worked on years ago. How you doing? Welcome in! Welcome in! We're talking about how it's stinky. We're talking about the difference between a battle pass and microtransactions and gacha. AAA games, yes. I worked in AAA games for 10 years. I worked for EA, I've worked for Ubisoft, I've worked for DNA Nintendo, I've worked for Cygames Japan. And so we're just having a conversation about kind of the dark side of what goes on behind those games. I'm pulling the curtain back so that you guys can see some of the stuff going on. What? Ubisoft's quadruple A games? You mean the ones that are $70 that run kind of like cold molasses from the freezer? Yeah, those ones. Glad to bring in some topic. Love hearing about it from people who've had a hand in the industry. Yeah, welcome in! I'm happy to have you. If you don't know me, hi, my name is Pumpkin. I am an adorable cartoon from 1931. I usually do animation content and we talk about cartoons a lot. I also do a little bit of comedy and we do music here as well. But on Toons Day is our just chatting and hangout day where we just chat and hang out and we talk about all different types of different topics. So today happens to be a video game day. Might as well start going back to FMVs at this point with the reach of realism. Well, we were having a conversation about the differences between battle passes and the differences between gacha games. And as somebody that used to work on games that were both of these things, if you want to be very safe about it, buy your battle passes and buy your one-to-one transactions. Those are completely acceptable and they actually do support the game. So if I want to go into a game and pay $10 directly for a skin and get that skin, here's $10. Thank you. Here's the skin. Here's the receipt. Completely acceptable. That is a one-to-one transaction. You are not gambling. You are not giving me $10 and may or maybe I won't give it to you. You'll receive what you're getting. And battle passes are the same thing. If you're going to pay $20 for a seasonal battle pass, you are paying for the battle pass. However, it's just however much that you want to play. And if you want a little inside tip on how to handle battle passes, the best way to squeak by with a battle pass from somebody with inside knowledge, wait to buy the battle pass. Complete the free track all the way to the end. And then on the day that you're about to complete the battle pass, buy the real deal. Just buy it. Because what's going to happen is all those days that you worked on the free path, everything that you got will be instantly given to you. Because you already achieved it. So they're going to give it to you. The reason that you do this and don't buy it at the beginning is because what if something happens? What if you're not able to play? What if there's a vacation? What if there's an emergency? What if you move? Like, What if a giant pigeon descends from planet Mars and poops on your house? Like, you don't know. You don't know. So buy it when you're done because you're guaranteed completion as opposed to paying $20 and maybe not being able to complete it. So buy it at the end, fellas. Buy it at the end. But that's the general reason. Like, I'm gonna tell you guys something that you're really gonna be upsetty to hear. Are you guys ready for a little... and what I mean little is I mean big upsetty spaghetti. If you play gacha games, if you play anything on mobile, I'm about to upset you a lot, right, with this statement. So gear up, hustle up, go hug something because you might need it. Several years ago in the United States, and a couple other countries, it was required by law that companies and video game companies that were engaging with mechanics in their app that fell under gambling. So this was gacha games, this was draw and pull games, this was any of that stuff. Loot boxes, it didn't matter. If it was mobile and had any loot box mechanic, gacha, loot boxes, draws, character pulls, does not matter. If your app contained it, it was a law that required that if you put that available for download on Android or Apple services, you had to provide legal documentation stating the percentages in which each drop could be obtained. Brad, thank you. So they had to provide documentation saying this character is a 1% drop. And Apple and Android, by the same law, are required to print that information on the download page. However, and most people are like, oh, well, that's not a big deal. That's a great idea. Now we can actually see what the percentages are. That's really cute. You think that, huh? That's really cute. Let me tell you about the real deal about what actually happens with that number. So, you make the game, and you hand the documentation over to Apple. Apple publishes it, puts your game on the market, and then you know what you do? You change it. You change it. And there is no requirement for updating the platform services. There's no requirement. It's not false advertising because they followed the law. It's a loophole. So every single time that you see like, oh, I'm going to get that new character, I'm going to put $10 in and I have a 1% chance. No, you don't. They gave that information when the game was live, and they gave that information when there were major updates. But anything in between, they have opportunity to tweak those numbers and percentages at any given chance or want that they choose to do so, and do not have to report that a secondary time. So whatever it is that you guys think that your percentage is actually not correct internally. But they're not going to correct that and tell you that because that would mean that it would convince you not to spend the money. That's why it's upsetting. Your polls are lies. Your percentages are exceedingly lower than 1%. On average, they're somewhere around 0.0001. It is an opportunity to get it, but you're never gonna get it. It's in the hundreds of thousands. A dice roll with 100,000 sides on it. So, this is why I'm saying, be real careful with that stuff, because this is the stuff they don't tell you.